Welcome to Weird Things. Welcome to episode 2. This is your host, Jonathan, and
And this is Luke back today with another episode for you. What are
yeah.
we going to be talking about today, John?
I think we're going to be talking about the stages of men.
Oh, yes, the five key developmental stages of men. Very interesting. Very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah, it's a
interesting.
very difficult topic, but very necessary.
It's very nuanced, but yeah, like you
Yeah,
said, necessary
it's
to
very niche.
understand
Yeah, it's very
this
niche.
the state of man.
Would you say it's niche?
Definitely
It's very
very
niche.
niche,
Yeah,
and it's
very
different for
niche.
everybody. Sometimes they skip steps. Sometimes they go backwards or forwards.
And you said that there's 5 stages, 5 main stages, but like there's different deviations, right?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
there's 5 main stages,
Okay.
but each of those look differently for somebody, but they all come back
Mm.
to the main basis of what that is.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we could start with the first one. What do you have to say?
Alright, so the first stage that every man starts at this stage. I have not seen one exception, but
Mm.
this is the bad boy stage.
Ooh, the bad boy stage.
Yeah,
So are we talking about like Jacob from Twilight, like that type of thing?
yeah, Jacob from Twilight would be a good example of that, because he's reckless, he's careless, he's chaotic in a
And he's
sense.
like a wolf.
Exactly.
But if I'm correct, isn't there a stage later that has to do with wolves a little bit?
We'll get to that.
Okay,
But yeah, a little sneak preview. One of the sections has to do with wolves.
okay. I think Jacob might be a running theme because we might be able to refer to his character arc.
Yeah, in fact, Twilight actually does have a lot of these stages of
Hmm,
man because
interesting.
because our next stage actually goes very well with another character, which is the emo and depressed era, which I would say
Hmm.
Edward is a very
Yeah,
perfect representation of
I could
this.
definitely see Edward being a representation. If you want, just like, could you go through the different stages, and then we could like go back through and talk about them
Yeah,
one
yeah,
at a
sure.
time.
So
Yeah,
the first stage is bad boy, and this is going to be like your chaotic, reckless energy, like you sort of
hmm,
act before you think. You,
like little boys chasing raccoons and
little
stuff,
boys chasing raccoons, banging rocks together,
throwing
robbing gas
fish.
stations is
Oh,
like an
hmm,
extreme example.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The next stage is the emo and depressed era, which is
Okay.
where you're like, boo, the world stinks.
Hmm.
Sort of like the repercussion and like coming to terms with all the bad things you did in the bad boy
Mhm.
era.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the next stage is the enlightened era.
yeah. Okay.
And this is the stage where you sort of like come out of that emo depressed era because you're like, yes, I did all these evil things as a bad boy, but I'm ready to move past and heal from
Mm.
this.
Yeah.
And you sort of expand intellectually
Mhm.
rather than like just emotionally. Which goes into our next category, which is the nerd. Like you find your interest. You
Like,
find Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
like you find your niche, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
find your niche, you find your passion, so to speak. And then once you go through that category, you go to to the king category.
Mm.
And this is the most peculiar category because it you'll follow one of three paths. You'll
Okay.
either be a sigma,
Okay.
an alpha,
Okay.
or an omega.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I definitely have heard of that before. So let's go back to the very first stage. You talked about the bad boy.
Yes, the bad boy stage.
So this is like childhood. Would you, well, actually, first, would you say that the stages kind of overlap a little bit?
I definitely would say that
Okay.
they overlap.
It's like even like a Sigma may have a little bit of a bad boy in them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the bad boy energy never fully goes away.
Okay.
Like it sort of like more goes to the background.
Hmm.
And this is the case with all of these categories because they can each reveal themselves at different times in a person's life.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because, like, say you're in your enlightened era, and then you feel like you start studying something that pulls you back to your bad boy era, like how to commit tax fraud, for example.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like you can compare like let's say Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. Is that his last name? Sanchez?
yeah, Rick
Yeah.
Sanchez.
It's like he's the nerd, you could say, but he's also like emo.
Yeah,
So
he's like the emo nerd.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's another thing that happens is that some of these categories kind of combine into like a mix of the
it
two.
like combines and makes a new one, sort of.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
an emo nerd or an emo bad boy, for
Mhm.
example, or a bad king.
or an enlightened bad boy.
or yeah,
Like
enlightened bad boy, enlightened
that's the
king.
rarest, right?
Yeah, enlightened. Yeah,
Enlightened bad boy and king.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like to be all three at once. I've only seen that occur once in my life.
yeah. All right, so back to the bad boy. Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, sure. So the bad boy, um, it usually goes away around your like teens at the earliest, and like like even like into your 30s possibly. But yeah, this is just where you just kind of are reckless and wild. You just kind of live for yourself, really.
Hmm. What do you say? How do we see the bad boy in Edward? In not Edward. Jacob from Twilight.
In Jacob, yeah, you see it with his interactions with Bella, especially.
Hmm.
Like he's almost obsessive over her, and then when he doesn't get her, he attaches himself to her daughter,
Very
which is
creepy.
a part of his like perceived selflessness. Because there's a lot of ignorance at this stage too, and you see it in Jacob thinking that bonding with Bella's daughter is a good thing when really it's
Hmm.
just he's like, I couldn't get with Bella, so I'm just gonna get with her daughter.
Yeah, and that's kind of pretty creepy behavior. And I think that one thing is like all the stages are necessary during the time that they're there, but then afterwards, it's like if it keeps going, it can be a problem.
Mm,
Like a kid should be a bad boy in a bit, like mess around, be rugged and stuff. But it's like if you're just crazy all the time, without any like decency, I suppose you could say,
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's a problem.
It's like a fire, and when it's in a fireplace, it's great. But if the fire is in the middle of the living room, it burns the entire house down.
Mm,
So, the bad boy stage, like it's a bit of a double edged sword
mm,
because it can do such wonderful things, but it can also slice your hand
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Because when you don't grow out of the bad boy stage, it does most of the harm comes to yourself.
mhm. It's kind of like you have to learn to use the energy,
Mm,
use the bad boy energy.
yeah,
Yeah,
like you have sort of have to harness that energy.
yeah. And if you subscribe to our 30-week transformation course, you can learn how to use that bad boy energy. But without further ado,
Yeah, without further ado, um, shall we move on to our next stage?
yes.
So this next stage is the emo depressed era, which, like we said, is like a reaction to the bad boy era. And you see this in Edward in Twilight because I mean he's a vampire and he has expressed to Bella that he has killed people,
Mm.
which
Ugh.
is what he did in his bad boy stage,
Okay.
and now
Yeah.
he's sad because he did that.
Mm. Yeah. And he's emo now.
Exactly.
I know there is a deviation at this point where you could turn into an emu if
Hmm.
you like continue in the emo stage or like if things just go atrociously wrong.
Yeah,
So
this is
like
where like instead of becoming sad of what you did, instead you just become silly
mhm,
and you sort of kind of embrace the chaos.
yeah.
And you see an example of this with the Joker.
Mhm.
Like he embraces the chaos within himself and he blows stuff up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have heard that like you could actually turn into a real like emu bird.
Hmm.
Is that true?
It's rare, but it yes, it is. It is heard of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
It's like watch for signs of like feathers growing.
Yeah.
Like look for places like the backside of your knees or your armpits.
Hmm.
You'll see it
Yeah.
if you're starting to turn into an emu. Talk to your doctor about that.
Yeah. Like if you see your kids starting to have your like teenage boys starting to have feathers, like parents,
Hmm.
please make sure to bring them to a hospital, like or like a male psychologist as soon as you can.
Instead of wanting to eat like steaks and like red meat, he'll be
Hmm.
interested in seeds,
Yeah, like pellets and stuff.
pellets, and seeds. You'll see him like pecking at the ground for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. Like I think that's a pretty telltale sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into the enlightened stage.
The enlightened stage, that's like post bad boy stage. You've sort of come to terms with coping with what you've done in the bad boy stage, and you sort of kind of wake up. Like
Uh,
it's like, wow, I am a real life person in this world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. So it's kind of similar to that experience when you're outside of like um a place and like suddenly you're like, whoa, I'm real.
Exactly. This is sort of like the opposite of an existential crisis. Instead of
mhm,
wondering who am I, you now know who you are.
mhm. Yeah. So it's like the emo stage is the existential crisis to
Exactly.
the non-existential crisis.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it
It's
better
like,
myself.
yeah, yeah. It's like the Extilchian Scheist finding thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So tell us about the next stage.
Yeah. The next stage is the nerd, which you kind of quickly fall into after the enlightenment stage. The enlightenment stage is a pretty brief stage.
Mhm,
Um, and the nerd stage is where you, while in the enlightenment stage, you find what you're most passionate about and you
mhm,
start pursuing that. It's like this. This might make someone look like kind of stupid if they start wearing a bunch of like Star Wars hoodies and collecting a bunch of weird plushies. Like a really common
like
thing,
Labubus.
yeah, like Labubus,
Mhm.
like the performative male
Uh,
trope is a branch of this nerd.
yeah. I've heard that's a very dangerous path
Yeah,
to
it's
follow.
one of the like anti paths that you don't
Yeah.
want to follow.
Because I heard that with that, you could actually become like literally like your blood can become matcha,
Hmm.
and it's very dangerous to
Yeah,
start
I've
doing.
seen it. Like they'll just like cut themselves and like matcha will just stream out. And then
Yeah,
in their performative male haze, they'll start drinking their own blood matcha.
yeah, and they'll like be like reciting Little Women and stuff, like
Hmm.
and Pride and Prejudice and stuff.
Yes,
Well,
you do not want to go down this
yeah,
path. Like if you know somebody that's doing this, like get far away from that.
yeah, yeah. It's very good advice. Um, it's kind of like during the nerd stage, you find your niche,
Hmm.
yeah, and like you become niche,
Yeah, a really
yeah.
common one right now is anime.
Yeah.
A lot of people are falling into that niche.
Well, I feel like the more that somebody falls into a niche, the less niche it becomes.
Exactly.
You know?
Because what happens is when one of these niches forms, it creates like a ripple in the universe itself.
Oh yeah.
And many people's consciousnesses like sort of fall into this. Almost like if you're walking on a hillside, you'll feel yourself being pulled downward physically. This is like a metaphysical hill where you will be forced into this trope. And anime
Mm,
has created a big crease within the fabric of reality.
yeah. That's very. Yeah. I heard that that could be dangerous because it could like destroy the quantum reality timeline and stuff, right?
Yeah, when a rip gets too big, it like the anime starts becoming real.
And it's possible we could end up in a reality where it's like Demon Slayer is actually like
Yeah,
real.
Demon Slayer, you might see a Pikachu on your way to work,
Oh no.
for example.
Yeah. You might like be stuck in One Piece for some reason with
Hmm.
like a million episodes of nothing.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is this is why it's important to not follow trends and to sort of still be your own person.
Mhm.
Which where if somebody finds themselves falling into one of these trends, they might need to go back to the Enlightenment era briefly, kind of regather themselves, and then come back to being a nerd.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so let's get to the next stage,
The next
which is
stage and the final stage is if you have conquered your nerd and found your true calling, you will become a king,
Mhm.
which includes one of three paths you follow. The first
Okay.
being the Sigma. You want to go ahead and tell us about that one?
Yeah, I mean the Sigma is just like the ultimate form. Well, it's one of the ultimate forms. There's three ultimate
Yeah,
forms,
one of three
but it's
ultimate.
like you're kind of like this all powerful being that like does everything perfectly, and you're like a master achiever, and you're like, oh yeah, I got my Bugatti and my truck and stuff. Or like in your trailer box garage thing.
Would you say
Um,
that Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy of the Übermensch captures this idea?
mm, it can, yeah, yeah, I think it can be because it's definitely a bit more about like that person being actualized as their inner wolf rather
Yeah.
than like an alpha is more the pack leader, whereas a sigma is just like his own pack.
Yeah, and that's why, like, of the three, Sigma is the best one.
Mhm. It also can be like it's the most independent where it's like, oh, it's not any sort of connection. Like you could be a Sigma in like Antarctica.
Exactly. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need anyone else in order to be a Sigma because the appeal of being a Sigma is that you are not dependent on anyone or anything to determine what you are. It's like you are the master of your own fate at this point.
But it can be kind of dangerous too, especially if it's like they're completely just like their own deity, I guess. And it's like, um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's light sides and dark sides of each of these.
hmm
Like the light side of being a Sigma is being like a benevolent like being,
hmm
and the dark side is being malevolent.
Yeah, yeah,
Like an
and-
example of a malevolent being would be Andrew Tate.
yeah, yeah. Andrew Tate is the shadow form of the Sigma.
He's like the shadow reflection of the Sigma.
Yeah, it's like he tried and he like touched the dark crystal of Sigmaism and was burnt into
Yeah.
being a deformed creature.
Because whenever you come across like when it comes to the time when you get to pick which of the three you want to be, you're given like a choice. Like you leave your body briefly and
hmm
enter like the spirit realm,
Yeah,
or like the three ancient
like
spirit
wolf
beings.
beings.
Like
Yeah.
there's a wolf, there's an eagle, and there's a fox, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you follow, like let's say for example you pick the wolf, you can follow this wolf down this path. But if you break away from that and start forming your own path, that's when you go down and become a shadow figure of the Sigma.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So then what about the alpha?
The alpha is gonna be kind of like the Sigma in a way, but you're not like alone. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're the leader. Like if somebody's an alpha, they'll be like CEO. They'll be like any type of leadership position.
And they could be like anywhere, right, in society. There could be like alphas
Hmm.
all throughout the streets and stuff. But not very often though. Like not a lot of people get to the king stage, right?
Yeah, it's rare if somebody does.
Yeah. Um. Hmm. And then what about the Omega?
The Omega is the protector.
Mm,
Like
mm,
so to summarize and put all three, like the Sigma would be like a lone wolf. Like they soar high above. This is like if you pick the eagle, you'll become a Sigma. Um, and if you become the wolf, you will become the alpha. If you become the fox, you'll be the protector.
mm, mm,
And each of these creatures symbolize a central aspect or piece of the human soul.
mm.
And you
Yeah.
pick which one you want to operate in.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of the shadow side of what the alpha and omega would look like?
Well, I think that the shadow side of the alpha would be like any sort of tyrant, people who
Yeah.
are like take advantage of their positions of power, whether that's politically, whether they're like the boss and they're all like, I'm gonna make it bad for all the people in my company, but like they don't realize they're doing it necessarily. They're just kind of like evil.
Yeah.
And then the Omega would be the Omega is difficult. I feel like the Omega would be like a trickster or like somebody that's just like leads people, leads the people they're meant to protect down a ruinous way.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like the omega shadow path is sort of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, like that idea.
hmm
Like you have good intentions in trying to protect people, but in doing so you sacrifice every moral grounding that you once had, and you end up doing more harm than good.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hmm. Well, that makes sense. So, what about some of the deviations that we have?
The deviations within each of the five.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's only deviations within the 2, 3, and 4,
yeah.
because everybody starts off as a bad boy.
Yeah,
So you can become an emo
emu.
or an emu, which is we
hmm
already kind of clarified that.
Yeah.
In the enlightened era, this is the one that a lot of people get stuck in,
hmm
because there's actually like many deviations because everyone sort of kind of creates their own.
hmm
So
Yeah.
you could like get wrapped up in like like uh like the like just spinning thoughts of learning so much about everything.
hmm
Like Like this is where a lot of people who become like philosophers end up.
Mm,
They get stuck
yeah.
in this one spot.
Yeah, where they're like the thinker.
Yeah.
But like the thinker, or you could say the overthinker too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're like the ones that just are like spinning webs of webbing thoughts.
Yeah. Something that happens in this stage too is like if like to spot somebody that's stuck in this stage is to see someone with a lack of ambition. Like if they're just sort of happy where they are and are just gaining more knowledge but aren't using it
Hmm.
is a very telltale sign of getting stuck here.
Hmm. Um, and then what about? So would that be the only one there? Or about just like the generally?
That's generally it,
Mm,
because like because everybody deviates from this one in their own unique way.
okay,
It would be very difficult to nail down a very specific one.
yeah. And then I heard that there's like an unk form that comes in at the nerd, where it's
Yeah,
like you can become an unk.
yeah. If you get stuck in the nerds phase too long, you will drift into unk, and then it will be impossible to transcend to Sigma Alpha or Omega.
Mm. Is the unk stage like when you become an unk, you can't un-unk?
Yeah, you're just done. Like you can't even go back to enlightened.
Oh
It's
man,
like this is
wow.
where um Like, this is where you'll find somebody that's just, like, nerding out over some unk thing, like football, for
Uh,
example.
or mechanic,
Yeah, mechanics, just like some old man
or just
hobby.
like
Like
back in my day
yeah,
type of
yeah.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
you'll hear them wagging their fingers saying, "Back in my day," talking
Mhm.
about their golf stats.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
And
It's just basically anything stupid that somebody gets nerdy into.
hmm. Is there qualifications of a niche that is stupid?
100%.
Okay, okay. How do you determine?
So something that's considered old or stupid is something that like generally a lot of like older people get into because it was once cool to get into, like something that used to transcend you to king
Mhm.
that no longer doesn't.
It's like how probably anime, for example, was a niche, you know, and then when it became the vortex and the cosmos and became not niche anymore, it's like that there that has the danger of becoming unk now.
Yeah, exactly. Like so when something like when something creates a ripple in the universe,
Hmm.
like for example, let's say like back in the day golf did create a ripple in the universe. A lot of
Hmm.
people fell into that. And then when that stops being a ripple, it um like people get trapped in there.
Hmm.
It's like imagine like a hole that a lot of people fell into and that hole gets filled.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to come out.
Yeah, I see. Hmm. Interesting. So that's why it's dangerous to fall into like the big vortexes and stuff, like
Yeah,
the popular trends.
it risks becoming an unk.
Hmm. But is there a way to like, let's say, enjoy something like golf, but not become like that, like become an unk in the future?
Yeah, like sort of like how people will dip their like have you've ever been in a hot tub
Yeah,
and there are some people sitting all the way in and there are some people that just have their feet in.
yeah. Hmm.
You want to just have your feet into an unk
Oh, okay.
thing.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because that's what because like when more and more people come into the hot tub, it's like it can overflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And like maybe they'll grab you, pull you in.
Whoa,
Yeah, be
that's
careful who
scary.
you hang out with. If you know people that are into um, unk things, you want to avoid those people,
Unk, unk things. Yeah.
lest you lose the opportunity to transcend to king.
Mm.
Because the goal of every man should be to become a king,
Hmm.
to choose Sigma, Alpha, or Omega,
Hmm.
and to like fully transcend. Because once you um fully transcend being an eagle, a wolf, or a fox, you'll actually break free from the physical realm and
Oh, really?
become one with wolf spirit,
Whoa.
the eagle spirit, and the fox spirit.
Whoa, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is ancient knowledge that was lost to time.
Yeah, ancient knowledge.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
the indigenous Americans did know this. That's why there's such an emphasis on spirit creatures.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Hmm. if you were when you get to the pathways of wolf, eagle, or fox, assuming that you haven't already,
Yeah.
which one will you choose?
I would definitely pick the eagle.
The eagle? Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
So being a sigma.
Yeah, I would pick the Sigma
Hmm.
100%. What would you pick?
I don't know. A fox might be cool. There's a fox Lego right here that I'm looking
True.
at. So it's like maybe the fox.
I could see you being an Omega.
Wow. So it's come to that. Has it? Well, one thing we forgot was there is a deviation from emo, which is the Rizzler.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, the Riz. It's like when somebody gets super like Rizzy and they can't unriz themselves, it's like they become the Rizzler.
Yeah, like rather because the Enlightenment is like the coping mechanism the for the emo
Yeah.
stage, which is the coping mechanism for the bad boy stage. But there's like a deviation from this where rather than becoming enlightened, you become a Rizzler.
Mm. Hmm.
And like you
Wow.
find meaning outside of yourself. This is a very
Mm.
dangerous thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say often people like stop by the Rizzler train and then keep going?
I've been seeing a spike in people falling into the Rizzler lately.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Also, what do you think about the 6'7" kid? Is he like where does he fit in this stage?
I think he is one of the rare people that has fully transcended reality.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, like
I mean, just the courage
the
to say what he
courage
said.
to bring to light such forbidden knowledge of the six and the seven.
Yeah, like bringing in numerology and all that crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Because once you become a spirit creature, you can take physical form briefly
Mhm.
enough to like guide
Yeah,
other people towards
because
enlightenment.
it's like we've never seen the 6'7" kid since that one video where it's like
Exactly.
he appears for a second.
Because he returns to the cosmic one, which takes the
Mm.
form of the eagle, the wolf, and the fox.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
so that's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think this should be a wrap here, and thank you for your time, Professor Luke Lothair. He is the professor of manhood. Yes. Yeah.
As an expert in the five stages of manhood, which to recap are the bad boy, the emo depressed era, the enlightenment era, the nerd, and finally the king.
Mm.
Thank you for
Yeah.
listening. We hope you had a good time. See you on the next one.
Adios.